Today's podcast is on the topic money laundering. Money laundering is the process by which the criminal attempt to conceal the true origin and ownership of the proceeds generated by illegal means, allowing them to maintain control over the proceeds and ultimately providing a legit cover for their source of income. Simply, money laundering means that a criminal or illegal money is being transferred into a legitimate cover and it's now have a face of a legal money. Money laundering involves three stages. First stage is placement, second is layering, and third is integration. Placement, layering, and integration. Placement is where the cash obtained through the criminal activity is first placed into the financial system. So it is the first mode of transaction. The illegal money is now put into a legit source. Second is layering. Now, layering is where the illegal cash is disguised by passing it through the complex transaction, making it difficult to trace. Now, illegal cash is now rotated or placed into the multiple business to conceal the true ownership, complex transaction, and make the trail difficult. And the last step is integration. Integration where the illegally obtained funds are moved back into the legitimate economy and now clean. Now the third stage is now the money is finally out of the system and it's now into a legitimate economy. Now it is a clean phase. So placement is the first, second is layering. Layering is covering or concealing the source, and last is integration. So money laundering offences include acquiring, possessing or use of criminal property, concealing, disguising or transferring criminal property or removing it from the country, entering into or becoming involved in an arrangement which is known or is suspected to facilitate the acquisition, retention or use of a control of criminal property by or on behalf of another person. Failure to report knowledge or suspicion of the money laundering. Tipping off means to carry out any action that would make the suspected money launderer aware that they are under the investigation or prejudice the outcomes of an investigation. Anti-money laundering program have some basic elements. The basic elements means the minimum an anti-money laundering program should incorporate money laundering and terrorist financing risk assessment. So there should be a risk assessment for money laundering and terrorist financing. Second is implementation of system, policy, controls, procedure that effectively manage the risk that firm is exposed to in relation to money laundering activity and ensure comply with regulation. Means controls, policies, procedures are there. And the third is compliance with the customer due diligence, enhanced due diligence and simplified due diligence requirements should be in place. And the fourth and the last point is enhanced record keeping and data protection system, policies and procedure. So anti-money laundering program should incorporate these four: risk assessment, there should be control, policies and procedures, there should be a customer due diligence, simple and advanced, and enhanced bookkeeping and recording, policies, procedures. Getting into the first element, that is money laundering and terror financing risk assessment. A written risk assessment must be carried out to identify and assess the risk of money laundering. Risk assessment must take into account information provided by the supervisory authority on risk factor in the sector. The following risk factors must also be taken account. During the risk assessment, the following should be taken account, that is firms, customers, country or geographical areas where firm operate, firms, products and services, transactions, delivery channels, Now, second is internal controls. There should be maintain a written policies, controls, and procedure effectively manage and mitigating the money laundering and terror financing risk identified in the risk assessment. So there should be a first thing in internal controls, that will be officer responsible for compliance. There should be a money laundering reporting officer. This person should be on the board of director or member of senior management. Sole practitioner with no employee are exempt from this requirement. A money laundering reporting officer is to receive the internal suspicious activity report and assess whether the suspicious activity report should be made to the appropriate regulatory body. Now the second is in internal control, that is the firm must assess the skills, knowledge and conduct and integrity of its own employee involved in the identification, prevention or detection of money laundering both and before and during the course of their appointment. Staff training must be provided on an ongoing basis to recognize and handle the transaction activity which may relate to money laundering. So first is your organization should have a money laundering reporting officer. Secondly is your employee. Second is the employee involved in the identification, prevention or detection of money laundering should be trained. Their skills, their knowledge, their conduct and their integrity should be on point. The third is independent audit function. Firm must establish an independent audit function to assess the adequacy and effectiveness of firm's anti-money laundering controls and procedures. Means your firm's controls and procedures should be reviewed for their effectiveness and adequacy. Due diligence. Accountants are required to establish the new client who they are claimed to be by obtaining a satisfactory evidence of identity from the client. This is known as customer due diligence or know your client procedures. They should be applied at the start of a new business relationship at appropriate times during the lifetime of the relationship and when occasional transaction is to be undertaken. So it should be conducted. The customer due diligence should be performed as soon as it is reasonably practicable after conduct the first made between the two parties and the satisfactory evidence is not obtained by the accountant. The business relationship or occasional transaction must not proceed any further. Customer due diligence involve first identify the client, know who the client is, and then verifying their identity. Identifying the client, their identity, that is demonstrating that they are who they claim to be by obtaining documents or the information from independent and reliable source. Second is identify the beneficial owner so the ownership and control structure can be understood and identify individuals who are owners or controllers can know. Reasonable measures should be taken to verify their identity on a risk-sensitive basis. And third, gathering information on the intended purpose and nature of business relationship. The business must be able to answer the following question: that who is the client, who owns or controls them, what they do, what is their source of funds, what can describe their activity, what are their activities, what will you be doing for them, and what is the legal structure. For individual like key management principle, where a client is an entity, inspection evidence to establish the full name and permanent address of the client. Like for the key management personnel, senior member of the client, where your client is the entity. So driving license, passport, utility bills can be taken to confirm the name and address. For business, inspection of evidence to verify company name, number, address, registered office, certificate of incorporation, list of registered members and directors, certificates of registered address can be taken. And for the trust, nature and inspection of evidence to establish and confirm nature and purpose of trust, original source of funding, Identification of trustees, controller and beneficiary. Now, enhanced due diligence. For higher risk client, enhanced due diligence must be carried out. Enhanced due diligence procedures should be carried out. And what is a simplified due diligence? For client presenting a low risk of money laundering, simplified due diligence should be carried out. Now the next topic is enhanced record keeping. It's very important that the accountant must keep comprehensive record to show that they have complied with money laundering regulation and protect themselves if there is an investigation into their client. Records must be kept of all customer due diligence completed, including the copies of evidence inspected, transaction with each client. Record should be kept up, and internal and external money laundering suspicious activity reports. Any money laundering suspicious internal or external reports should be kept. So to summarize the anti-money laundering guidance, that is 5. There is audit firm should appoint a money laundering reporting officer. Second is sufficient time should be spent on client identification process, that is client screening. Third is client anti-money laundering procedure should be discussed and reviewed. Matlab means client's internal control system should be reviewed. Fourth, keeping of records, documentation should be there, and members should not tip off, avoid concealment. So this is a very short topic, money laundering, involving the definition, the 3 stages of money laundering, that is placement, layering and integration, and the anti-money laundering guidance given, like appointing the MLRO, money laundering reporting officer, then the role of MLRO, then the client screening, then reviewing of the internal control systems and procedures, and record keeping. And the last is members should not tip off, means the audit team members should not tell the client that they are in the spotlight of money laundering. So this is the end of the topic, money laundering.